Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. Let's talk a bit about Daniel Dubois and Shane McGuigan because they have apparently parted company, which I think is very interesting. And certainly not very good for Daniel Dubois. He has this proposed fight with Oleksandr Usyk coming up. To lose your trainer, it's got to be a bad thing, isn't it? I was struggling to think of a similar scenario. All I've come up with in recent years would be when Adam Booth and George Groves separated just before the first Froch fight, although it must be said that George Groves put on a fantastic performance and was essentially robbed by dear old Howard Foster, with the early stoppage, very, very early stoppage. Although not quite as bad as the Barroso-Rowley one the weekend, but anyway, we won't go back there. Okay, so it's got to be bad. I mean, look at it this way, right? Daniel Dubois is coming off a very, very shocking, I think, performance against Kevin Lerena. I think he damaged his knee in that fight, but there's no doubt about it. He was almost caught cold by Lerena. His legs were all over the place, punched to the top of the head, and Lerena could have knocked him out in the first round. If he stepped to the gas in the second round, he might have got him out of there. I don't know. It was just a bad performance. And then, of course, you've got the injury, so operation on the knee. Knee, of course, can be notoriously bad to heal. It takes an awful long time to heal. You've got to get the operation right, and you've got to get the physio right. Do you really want to jump in there with Oleksandr Usyk after that sort of ordeal? It's difficult to know why they've separated, but I suspect that. Let's go through a few of the reasons, right? A few of the reasons. I think a few of the possible reasons, I should say, because I don't have any inside information. But I think, number one, here's in no particular order. Shane McGuigan wasn't happy with taking on Usyk so soon after the reasons I just mentioned. And Daniel wanted it, or perhaps Daniel's team wanted it. Daniel's father is very prominent in the team. Tends to sort of have a lot to say about his son and his daughter, Caroline Dubois' careers. Perhaps there was a disagreement between the family of the team and Daniel and Shane. And Shane was saying, look, maybe, we need a warm up. We need to test that knee. We need to see where you are physically, but also mentally. Are you carrying any scars from that bad night at the office with Lorena? We want to get your confidence up. Get your confidence in your physiology. Make sure that you're there mentally, that you're focused fully on the job ahead, not just, I've got an injury, is it going to go again? All that sort of thing. That's one reason. Another reason is maybe, now I don't think this is very likely, but I'll mention it anyway. Maybe Shane wanted the fight and Daniel wasn't so sure. Maybe the opposite was true, that the opposite to the reason I've just given. I don't think that's very likely. Possibly another reason could be that, Daniel's father has been whispering in his ear about saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it has not coincided with Shane. So perhaps Daniel's father and Shane are at loggerheads, or maybe not his father, maybe it's other members of the team. I don't know. I mean, again, I have no inside information here. I'm just sort of chewing the fat and pontificating about it. What other reasons could there be? There's a possibility that, first of all, let me say this in all honesty. I never thought that the Usyk Dubois would happen, ever. The reason being, it is such high risk and relatively low reward. Low reward in the sense that, yes, if Daniel wins, he can pick up those 3 belts. But he's a rank outsider, and also financially, he's not going to be making that much from this fight. He'll make decent money because he's a heavyweight and it's a world title fight and so on. But he won't make those, 8-figure sums that Mr. Joshua and Mr. Fury make. And if he gets beaten badly, coming off the back of that awful Lorena performance and the fact he got stopped by Joe Joyce, who has since himself been stopped, it's a long way back. It's a long way back. And people will say, oh, what are you talking about there? It's a heavyweight title fight. There's money on the table. But as far as I can see, what are the chances of Frank Warren bringing Usyk over to Britain to fight Daniel? I don't think that that's very realistic. I think that although Usyk has, I don't think he's ever fought in Ukraine as a professional. He certainly hasn't fought for any of his world titles in Ukraine. I know that. He can't fight in Ukraine now because of what's going on there. So, but if you put him in any of the neighbouring or the nearby Eastern European, in fact, if you put him anywhere in Europe apart from Britain, Dubois would probably be the outsider, the away fighter, if you like. I think more support would come from Usyk for Usyk. If you go to the UAE, Dubois and so on, I think you'd probably find that Usyk was the A side with most support. So Daniel would be not only a rank underdog challenger, being paid far obviously less money than the champion. He would be he would be the away fighter, and with the away fighter, you always worry about judges and scorecards and so on and so forth. And the power games that go on behind the scenes. Again, we'll go back to Rowley and Barroso at the weekend, and the sort of shenanigans that went on there. Very questionable. So the whole thing seems to me I've never ever believed from the word go that Daniel Dubois would ever get in the ring with Oleksandr Usyk, and I think this is the final nail in the coffin for me. The fact that he's broken up with Shane McGuigan. I don't have, again, I repeat, I don't have any inside information about this. I'm just chewing the fat and speculating. And of course, another question is, who is going to train Daniel now? Who's going to pick up the pieces now? I haven't really thought about it. I don't really know. Adam Booth? Apparently, who was it now? Yeah, it was one of the trainers said that they wouldn't train. They were going to train him and they wouldn't. I can't remember who it was actually now. Was it Mark Tibbs? I think it was Mark Tibbs, wasn't it? Who said he was thinking of training him, and then even though he stopped short of saying it, I think again it was the father's interference or the family's interference that put him off. But whatever the reason is, I can't see this fight happening. I think Dubois will. Surely Frank Warren won't put him in with Usyk now, but I don't know. Cash out. If Dubois fights Usyk at any point, it will be a cash out as far as I can see. Even though the kid's only 25 or something, that's ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, and of course, let's not forget that Dubois, when he went over and won that secondary WBA belt against that nondescript heavyweight whose name escapes me, he still hasn't been paid for that, because Don King is at loggerheads with Frank Warren and isn't paying Dubois because of the history between him and Warren, and therefore Daniel will have to sue, and that costs a lot of money, and it's the whole thing. Did you remember that fight in that leisure centre or what it was? Dubois and whatever the guy's name was. Why can't I remember his name? Actually, I'm quite glad I can't remember his name because he was such a crap heavyweight. But Daniel hasn't been paid for that yet. He hasn't been paid. So if he does get the Usyk fight, that could well be his last big payday, or at least for several years. He hasn't been managed very well. He hasn't been promoted very well, Daniel. I know he had an opportunity against Joyce, who's let's say he gets ironed out by Usyk. That'll be Usyk's ironed him out. Bad performance against Lorena, alarming performance against Lorena, and he's been stopped by Joyce, who has since been stopped himself. So he's all looking like damaged goods, isn't he? I don't know. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about this. If you've got any comments, of course, and I'll have a read of them and answer them. And of course, thanks for your time as always. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button if you like the video. And we'll speak again soon. Until then, bye for now.